everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Wreck It Philly Budget Rally on this beautiful day. You have no idea how nervous we were about the weather, so I'm just so happy it's sunny. All you beautiful people are out here supporting it. And shout out to our DJ C. Ron, for keeping it going. So I want to thank everyone today for coming out and advocating for Parks and Recreation. My name is Lula DeFresha, and I am the campaign director for Philadelphia Parks Alliance. The Philadelphia Parks Alliance campaigns for outstanding parks, recreations, and open spaces to make Philly a healthy, vibrant, and sustainable city for all of us. And we believe we are able to grow healthy communities through parks and recreation. We are here today to advocate and amplify the importance of increasing parks and recreation budget. 53 plus organizations have signed on to our letter, and our supporters, yes, thank you so much. And our supporters have sent out 1,895 messages to show the mayor and city council how important parks and recreation, how essential it is, and the funding can help us improve, make sites safe, clean, and ready to use in every neighborhood, increase recreation programs in every neighborhood, and increase tree canopy. So, yes. And I don't want to hold up the mic too soon because we have some important people who are also here to speak on the importance of parks and recreation. So I'm going to pass the mic to Cheryl.
All right. Hello, how's everybody doing? Just full disclosure, a little aside, DJ, you almost took me back to my days. Let me just start by saying that it's an honor and a privilege to join with my colleague, Councilmember Gaultier, along with our Register of Wills, Tracy Gordon, and quite frankly, each and every one of you, to be here today advocating for our parks and recreation centers. I want you to know that I love two buttons that I just got made. Didn't I help to make these? I helped to make these, guys. One says play is essential, and the other says community is essential. But the most important sign here today is being held by the lady with the pink mask on, where she says, fund people to work in recreation centers and not just the buildings. Listen, making capital improvements is one of the most important investments from an infrastructure perspective because we deserve all of the modernization, the technology, and quality recreation centers. But in order to maintain that investment, in order to have quality programming there, it's a partnership between the people who work there. It has to be somebody's job. And to be quite frank, as much as I love all you advocates who are here today, if somebody's not paid to organize this in every recreation center across the city of Philadelphia, the work won't get done appropriately. So Purple Lady Mask Wearer, where are you? Thank you so very much for making sure that we don't forget that we need to fund people along with the actual buildings. Thank you all so very much. I'm on mommy duty. Go ready to pick up Langston. Thank you.
And now I'm going to like to introduce Brett Bessler, who is a former 2187 steward and current UEM PPR Budget Committee member. Brett, if you can come.
All right. My name is Brett Bessler. I'm a Recreation Leader 2 Facility Supervisor in the South Philadelphia Point Breeze neighborhood of Philadelphia. Thank you for joining us today at City Hall to discuss and support a more inclusive and robust budget for the Philadelphia Parks and Recreation Department. Currently, the Mayor's proposed budget includes a $5.58 million increase to the PPR budget for fiscal year 23. While this increase is welcome, it unfortunately falls short of what's actually needed to lift and support the PPR system. Recreation centers all across the city are short-staffed and ill-equipped to provide the resources that our residents, especially our youth, desperately need. Rec center staff constantly have to pivot and wear many different hats to go above and beyond for the youth that they care about like their own. And when workers are stretched thin and tasked with performing duties of multiple job classifications, the quality of those services suffer. And because of that, the DC 47 PPR Budget Committee is asking the Mayor and City Council to increase Parks and Rec funding by a total of $15 million. Just $9.42 million more than what the mayor has proposed. With an increase that substantial, the Parks and Recreation Department can work toward building a sustainable and equitable system that will include the addition of 100 full-time recreation leaders, 80 full-time maintenance workers, 20 social workers, and 30 recreational therapists. With the addition of 100 full-time recreation leaders, PPR can ensure 2 full-time staff members stationed at every operating center to increase safety, expand operating hours, and provide an even more robust schedule at each site to benefit youth, families, and senior citizens. Through this increase, we can also address the systemic problem of relying on part-time assistant recreation leaders and recreation specialty instructors. Currently, many of these part-time city employees are forced to work multiple jobs or rely on government assistance just to get by. Simply put, the city of Philadelphia should not be an employer that keeps its employees in poverty. With some hard work, we can revisit current job specifications and build a pathway for these part-time employees to obtain full-time positions with ample pay, benefits, and a pension. We can and must create an infrastructure that affords these dedicated city employees and residents an opportunity for upward mobility to the middle class. The addition of social workers and recreational therapists to the expansive Parks and Rec system would be, in our eyes, 2 of the most crucial elements the city could provide in a recreation setting. If the investment in these 2 positions were made, a plan could be developed to offer children, families, and residents with the resources and programs they need to meet them where they are, with a meet them where they are mentality. These positions cater to the needs of our most vulnerable populations, and they deserve the ability to recreate, learn, and grow with every resource available to them just around the corner at the rec, or what we call community wellness centers. A total of $15 million investment in our communities via the Parks and Recreation budget can provide necessary tools needed to improve the lives of our communities in imaginative and comprehensive new ways. We can afford sustainable middle-class paying jobs to long-time employees, expand our operating hours, increase safety, accessibility, and provide a plethora of resources and inclusive programs. With your support, we can work towards this new vision for the Philadelphia Parks and Recreation Department. Together, we can build a new way to address the needs of all residents where they are and when they need it most. Thank you. And now I'm going to introduce Councilmember Gauthier. She used to be the executive director of the Family and Park Conservancy, so she's one of our longest and strongest supporters, and I thank her so much. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so proud to be here today supporting the Philadelphia Parks Alliance's push for safe, clean parks, vibrant rec centers, and green neighborhoods. Your advocacy is vital, and I commend you for pushing hard for what's right year after year. That being said, I wish you didn't have to push. I wish that all of our city's leadership appreciated the crucial role that parks and rec centers play in our communities every single day. Rec centers in particular are havens in our neighborhoods. They provide safe, supportive environments for kids to play, to socialize, and just to relax. To put it simply, rec centers are lifelines for our community members, and in particular, our most vulnerable residents. And for that reason, the work of parks employees and parks advocates could not be more urgent in this moment. But meanwhile, there are only 271 permanent program staff for over 300 parks and rec centers, including 74 pools. And that's simply not enough for a city of over 1.6 million residents. We are currently in the midst of the worst gun violence crisis our city has ever seen. And the perpetrators and the victims of this violence are younger than we've ever seen before. Kids and teenagers are getting caught up in street groups and social media beefs. And I'm just going to come out and say it. It's not a coincidence that we keep cutting the Parks and Rec budget, and cutting the free library budget and cutting the arts and culture budget, and that we're seeing this enormous spike in violence at the same exact time. Because it's places like our parks and rec centers that keep our kids safe in the first place, that provide them with productive, enriching activities, and that allow them to just be kids. We need to start investing in our parks and recreation centers in a way that reflects how critical they are to the health and well-being of our neighborhoods and our entire city. And that's why I'm proud to stand with all of you today and join your call for a fully funded Department of Parks and Recreation. We need to restore the cuts that were made during the pandemic, and we need to restore the cuts that were made prior to the pandemic. We need to make sure that each rec center is operational and well-staffed, and we need more programming for our young people. And this can't wait another year. We don't have another year. The time is right now, and as we continue with budget hearings and negotiations, I look forward to joining my colleagues to demand that our parks and recreation centers get the resources that they deserve and that they need. Philadelphians and our young people deserve nothing less. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Tracy Gordon. I'm the Registrar of Wills here in Philadelphia, and I'm a proud advisory member for my local recreation center, McCreesh Recreation Center and Park. I always tell people that a lot of our children cannot afford to go to Disneyland, Wildwood, and to most children, a playground and a park is Disneyland to them. It's Disneyland to them. We just got a remodeling of our recreation center. We have a spray park. We have new equipment, new playground equipment, skate park. And when I look and see the happy faces of those children, it just makes me wonder why it's so hard for people to understand that can afford to go to Wildwood and Disney World, that they don't need to invest in these parks and playgrounds, and not just the physical aspects of it, but also the cleanliness. Somebody has to clean the park, and we cannot rely on volunteers. We need paid staff. We need paid staff with livable wages. You know, we have a playground, but there's no construction paper, no crayons, no glue. When I grew up, I used to go to the park and we used to make all kinds of keychains, everything. A lunch. A lot of kids wouldn't get lunch because their parents are at work. We need clean, safe, and we need the money for these playgrounds. I really love Philadelphia. I believe in Philadelphia. I travel to New York a lot. Every single park and playground in New York is beautiful. They have exercise equipment around it. They have soccer fields. They have fields of dreams. Go to New York and see it. Go to Brooklyn. It's beautiful. Every school has a playground in the school. All ours have is concrete. And you wonder why, the reason why parents don't come. I was on the planning committee. I said there's no benches for where they're going to sit. You know? They put benches there. Now I see parents and everything. So, like my colleague said, and like all of you already know, it's not just about the building. It's about the people you want to work in the building. It's about the children that have to rely on the people that work in the building. And it's just about making sure that children have a safe place and families can say, it's programs there for my kids and not just basketball and football. We can have chess. We can have checkers. There's a lot of quality programs that can help our families, just help. I'm just happy about our playground, but it shouldn't be all playgrounds. Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce Andres. He is here on behalf of
much, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you so much to every single person who's here today. My name is Andres Celine, and I'm the Outreach Director for Councilmember Helen Gim. And on behalf of the council member, I want to express my sincere gratitude to the Philadelphia Parks Alliance, to the Friends of groups, to the advisory councils, to the community organizations, to everyone who's out here today calling for and demanding for the resources that our rec centers so desperately need. Rec centers are the heart of many of our communities, and Parks and Rec staff, volunteers, and community members have taken on an incredible amount of essential roles in supporting families through the pandemic. They have provided meals. They have supported students getting equipment and getting online to be able to do virtual school. They have transformed their rec centers into testing sites and vaccination centers, reaching those within the most need of care throughout the city. And they have provided and continued providing safe spaces for young people to play, to learn, to grow, and to receive mentorship from the adults and the leaders in their community. Councilmember Gim strongly believes that in this moment, when our neighborhoods are experiencing the pain and the loss of so much more gun violence than we have seen in decades, investing in our rec centers, also as well as our libraries and community organizations, has to be at the top of our priority list and must be a key component of our city's anti-violence strategy. Programming for Philadelphia's young people is a community safety strategy. Accessible and robust parks and rec centers are community safety initiatives, but we cannot get there without the funding that Parks and Rec needs and it deserves. Councilmember Gim is committed to making sure that Parks and Rec centers can be fully funded, fully staffed, and can expand access on evenings and on weekends so that we can reinvest in community safety and in the futures of our children and youth. Thank you very much.
We have one more speaker, and I would like to introduce you to Alex Doty. He is the Executive Director of the Philadelphia Parks Alliance.
So, thank you all for coming out. We were really nervous about how many people were going to show. We had a rain forecast that spooked us. So thank you so much for coming out. We know that the support for Parks and Rec is out there in the public. The mayor's budget engagement focus groups identified parks and public spaces just behind public safety in the top 4 budget priority areas that there should be for the city. So you guys are representing so many people across the city. So our struggle is how do we turn that sentiment into actual resources for Parks and Rec. We have 300 parks, rec centers, and playgrounds across the city of Philadelphia. We have 271 staff who provide programs at those centers, right? We have such potential. This is such a strength of what the city of Philadelphia has, and we are depriving ourselves of the full potential of that resource at a time when our city needs it very, very badly. So we have questions about what is not in the mayor's budget. One thing is we have a new tree plan that's coming out. Is there any funding for the tree plan? We have I think it's a $2 million backlog in tree removal, not care, right? Tree removal. So we need to make inroads. The only way that we're going to be, we have planted so many trees over the last decade, but we have lost tree canopy in that time. And we know that the hottest neighborhood on a summer day in Philadelphia is 22 degrees hotter than the coolest neighborhood in Philadelphia, and that's all about tree canopy. So it's what we need to fight climate change. It's what we need to fight inequity, because it's no surprise what the hottest neighborhoods are, right? You can take the redlining lines. You can look at poverty. You can look at BIPOC, and you know where the hottest neighborhoods are. So Parks and Rec, it's not only that it's a thing that we all want and love, but it's also an important tool for us to be using. And I'm really proud to be an advocate for Parks and Rec as they are figuring out need scores and an equity approach to how it is that we resource rec centers. It should no longer be that the poverty rate in your neighborhood determines the quality of your park or of your rec center. That's not okay. And so we don't have enough money in this budget to just be able to kind of keep as normal, right? And so what we're asking for this year is one step towards safe, clean, and ready-to-use sites in every neighborhood. Increased programming and increased tree canopy. That's what we're talking about this year, that's what we're going to talk about next year, and that's what we want the next mayor to commit to. So thank you all for coming out, and look forward to all of your energy as we head into this budget season and the next two to follow. So thanks for coming out. My board is haranguing me. So there is one important thing that you can do, which is that there is testimony. There are 3 sessions for public testimony. You need to sign up for that. If you're on one of our lists, we start. First thing we're going to do is trying to get you to come here. The next thing we're going to do is try and get you to give public testimony. All of the hearings this year are still virtual. I don't know why, but so we can't go to the Parks and Rec testimony or the budget hearing, which is May 3rd, and then. But you do have the opportunity. You have 2 minutes to be able to make the case. One point that I would just say is that everybody in City Council has heard our talking points, right? So you don't have to repeat the talking points in your testimony. You can tell a story about why it is that Parks and Rec is important to you or is important to the city. But there, somebody's back there, making little marks on a paper about how many people testified in favor of Parks and Rec funding. So sign up, and we'll be sending out some the instructions for that. But you can also go to the City Council page, and it's right there. All right. Got it? Okay. Thank you again for coming out.